What's Hawkin? What's Hawkin? I know it's been a minute, but this is the very first episode of a 5 episode series. Welcome, everybody, to the NFL breakdown of the schedule. I know the schedule released mid May, about 2 weeks ago. And there's a lot of excitement whenever the NFL schedule releases. You're obviously looking for the primetime games. If you're a Seahawk fan, you want to look at the whole schedule and break it down. And we are here to not only break down the Seahawks schedule, but to go through every team schedule in relation to our Seahawks. And we're going to rank them. We're going to rank all 32 teams down to number one. Spoiler alert, we all know what the number one important schedule for the Seahawks is their own. So they will get their own episodes where we can go into depth in regards to the Seahawks season. But before we get to that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all the things in relation to What's Hawkin. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok and Twitter, all under What's Hawkin 12. That's What's Hawkin, like hawking or happening. What's Hawkin without the G 12. Thank you for all those who have been supporting thus far. We're really excited to get this season underway. We're about 100 days away from kickoff to the NFL season, where we will host the New England Patriots. The last team that we beat will be the next team that we beat. Sorry, product placement here. Everything Seahawks. Stay hydrated, my friend. All right, so this first episode, we will look at 8 specific teams, and I will call out the rankings. So obviously, the worst or least important team schedule as it relates to the Seahawks. So at number 32, let's kick it off. We're going to go into the AFC North, who finished 4th in their division last year, the Cleveland Browns. They finished 5-12 last year. And going into this season, not only are they not on the Seahawks schedule, they do not face any of our foes, anyone in the NFC West, which will be a theme of today's episode. Some key things to point out about the Browns: they do have on their schedule a road stint where they play on the road 3 straight weeks, week 7 through week 9, and that includes a divisional game at the Steelers. Okay. So that's a tough sledding, halfway through the season. They do have a home stretch immediately after that. So they go on the road three straight weeks, but for 4 straight weeks, so a month, they'll play at home. That's weeks 10 through 14. And in that 4-game homestand, they have a bye week as well. So that's essentially 5 weeks of not having to travel, not having to pack a bag, not having to do any of that. Sleeping in your own bed, having a routine tends to help solidify parts of the season. So, it wouldn't be surprising if we see them rattle off 2 or 3 surprise wins in that stint. They do have a divisional game against Cincinnati in that home stretch. So not all tough games. Obviously, every divisional game is a tough game, but it's always better to play it at home. Moving on at 32, we're gonna kick it over to the AFC South, and this team finished 4th in their division as well, also at 5-12, the Tennessee Titans. Now, one of those 12 losses was to our Seahawks. We faced them last week, week 12, and put a spanking on them. So we contributed to that 5-12 season. But in regard to this season, like the Browns, they don't face the Seahawks or any other NFC West team. So they could literally win all their games. They could lose all their games this season. Wouldn't have any impact on whether or not it helps or hurts our chances of going to the playoffs, which is obviously what the regular season is about. They do have four of their divisional matchups that come after their week 9 bye week. Okay, so the first half of their season, they don't really face too many divisional opponents, but for those last, call it 8-9 games of the season, includes their divisional foes, and that also includes a road game at Houston to finish off the regular season. Tough sledding for the Titans. Get better. That's all I got to say about that. Moving on, the 30th ranked team in relation to our Seahawks. We're staying in the AFC South. They finished third with a 8-9 record last year, or the Indianapolis Colts. Again, another team that we saw last season, week 15, which was the Phillip Rivers game, if you remember. This was the game that solidified to me that this Seahawks team was ready to go on a title run. I know that sounds weird considering the Colts obviously didn't make the playoffs or have a real chance, even if they had made the playoffs, having losing their starting quarterback Daniel Jones to an Achilles injury. But if there's one thing that I know about quality playoff teams, is that they can win in a multitude of ways. And up until this point in week 15, the Seahawks hadn't had an ugly win, right? We didn't have a grinded out, just ugly win. And obviously you wouldn't want that to come at the hands or against a team like Indianapolis, who ultimately did not make the playoffs, but a win is a win. And so this was the moment that I personally was impressed with the chances of our Seahawks going to make a title run. Obviously they did. But enough about last season. The Colts this season, I literally have no notes. I mean, they have 3 primetime games this year, but I mean, I can't really give you a reason why that is. In the second week of the season, they have a Sunday night game against Kansas City Chiefs. Week 4, they play in London against the Commanders. In week 9, there's a Thursday night game. I mean, all teams have Thursday night games, I guess. And that one is at Houston. So as far as Hawk Gang, who really cares? Moving on. At 29, moving over to the AFC North. This team finished third with a 6-11 record. The Cincinnati Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals have a 3-game home stretch this season, weeks 8 through 10. One of those is an international game in Spain, so it's not truly a 3-game homestand. I don't really understand how this works, but when teams play overseas, the game is considered a home game for the both of them. I don't know why it's not an away game, because neither one of them are playing in their stadium, but that's just the way it's written on the schedule. So this is a fraudulent home game stretch, but nonetheless, the Kansas City Bengals do have that on their schedule. They face 5 of their divisional opponents after their bye week. Their bye week is in week 6, so it's a pretty early bye week, so no shocker there. But they have back-to-back home games against Baltimore and Cleveland to finish the season. So while they're divisional games, at least they're at home. Clocking in at the 28th spot. We're in the AFC North. This team finished second, disappointingly, at 8-9. The Baltimore Ravens. So far, all of these teams that I've listed do not face the Seahawks this upcoming season, which is why they are ranked so low on importance. They're not on our radar. But again, they don't face any NFC West teams, so we can't even root for them to beat maybe a Rams team or 49ers or Colts. So the Ravens don't have any of these teams on their schedule, but what is on their schedule, a 3 straight homestand early in the season, weeks 2 through 4, But again, it's another fraudulent home stand because they have an international game against Dallas in Brazil. So it's not truly a home game. They have to travel abroad. They do have 5 primetime games this season. They face the Cowboys, the Falcons, the Jaguars, Chargers, and Bengals on primetime television. The last 4 games of the regular season are all divisional matchups. Lamar Jackson, good luck. At 27, this is the first team that is coming off a playoff appearance, are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They finished first in the NFC North last season at 10-7, which is frustrating because if anyone's a Seahawks fan, you remember in 2024, the Seahawks finished 10-7, Mike McDonald's first year as head coach, but we missed the playoffs. But that wasn't the case for the Steelers. They made the playoffs at 10-7. If anyone remembers week 2, we gave them their first loss of those 7 losses. The Seahawks did visit Pittsburgh and win. I believe the score was 34-17, if I'm not mistaken. But enough about the past. This season, they have 6 primetime games. One against the Browns. They have the Saints, Bengals, Broncos, Texans, and the Jaguars. And this includes a Black Friday game against the Broncos. So, yeah, that's it about the Steelers. Don't really care much else. Let's move on. 26. This is an AFC South team who also made the playoffs and also finished 10-7, and actually were favorites to go further in the playoffs than they actually did. The Houston Texans. A little bit of history in relevance to the Seahawks. Last year, the Houston Texans did visit the Seahawks in Week 7 on Monday Night Football, where we trounced them. This is one of the better touted defenses in the league, and we put up 30-plus points on them. But enough about the past. Let's look at their season schedule for 2026. They have 5 primetime games. They got Jaguars, Colts, Steelers, Eagles, Packers. They have 3 games this season where they're coming off at least 10 days of rest. In Week 9, they face the Chargers, and they'll have a significant amount of rest. Week 12, they face the Ravens. Again, significant rest. And one that I think is really going to bode well for them, the Packers in Week 17. So towards the end of the season, where they're coming off at least 10 days of rest. But again, they can win or lose all these games. It wouldn't matter to the Seahawks. Moving on, 25, another playoff team. And this will be the last team that we feature in episode 1. This team finished first in the AFC South with a 13-4 record. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Duval. Shout out to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who lost to the Seahawks last year in Week 6. But enough about the past. We're talking about this season where they have 5 primetime games. They face the Eagles, the Texans, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Cowboys, including back-to-back games, both Week 5 and 6 in London. So they spent 2 weeks in London. That is not our dog, right? We don't have to worry about that. But it'll be interesting to see how they handle, the time zone adjustment coming in for week 5. Obviously, they'll be adjusted by the time they play in Week 6, but then coming back week 7. Well, actually, I lied, because they have 3 straight home games, which includes a Week 7 bye week. So their bye week will be spent adjusting back to American time zone. In that 3-week homestand, Weeks 5 through 8. Again, it's a fraudulent homestand because those first 2 games are in London. But they do face 2 divisional opponents in this stint, where they face the Texans and the Colts. They also have 3 straight road games, and this is not fraudulent. These are truly on the road. Weeks 9 through 11. In that stint, they have a divisional game against Tennessee. So the Jaguars actually have a pretty ugly portion of their, or two ugly portions of their schedule, having to deal with that international travel in those road games back to back. So let's see if they're able to repeat or even improve upon their 13-4 record last year and make another run in the playoffs. I know that is the expectation coming off the successful season that they had last year. But who cares, because it doesn't impact the Seahawks. Hopefully you have enjoyed learning a little bit about what everybody else has going on. The way I view it, every single team impacts the Seahawks one way or another, even if their games have no playoff implications to the Seahawks. Because for every player that is signed to the Texans, that's one less player that is an option for the Seahawks. So, I always try to take a look at the league holistically, and hopefully you got something out of it. We'll be back to do episode 2. In episode 2, we're going to focus on 12 teams. We did 8 teams today. It'll go a little bit longer in terms of the number of teams that we call out. And the significance of these teams is that all of them face at least one NFC West opponent. So we get to either root against if they're facing us, or root for if they're facing any of our foes, at least once this upcoming season. So we'll break those down in episode 2 and take a deeper dive into how this impacts the Seahawks season. With that, I'm your host, TP, aka TSN. Peace.